Sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows. Everything that's wonderful is what I feel when.
Hey lovely Train of Positivity peeps, I am Kirsty Mac and I am joining you from sunny Glasgow in Scotland. Maybe not so sunny, but I'm definitely in Glasgow in Scotland. I'm a coach, podcaster, speaker, consultant, lucky enough to work with beautiful humans in organisations doing sort of leadership experiences and coaching. And I wanted to talk about being more human in business. As humans, there's a clue. Could we be more human in business? We've been talking for years about B2B and B2C. I think there's such a need right now for H to H. And we saw it. We saw it and we experienced it and we swam in it during the pandemic. And we saw this rising of humanity and this care and appreciation and grace for one another. And can we keep a hold of that? You know, I'm seeing some little glimmers of how things used to be, this normal thing that people talk about, of how things used to be. And perhaps it's as we attempt to navigate through remote working and hybrid working and all of that. I love the meme that I saw at the weekend, which, you know, Dorothy never said, there's no place like office. There's no place like office. And I'm not saying we can't be human in an office, because I love being around other humans. But perhaps there are some constraints and processes and immune systems that exist around us in our organizations that stop us from being ourselves. It feels like we are taking steps away from ourselves. You know, and I hear organizations, and it is brilliant saying, we want people to be themselves. It is brilliant and heartbreaking that needs to be a thing. Surely we have a right to be ourselves, unless you're a serial killer, that's different. But how can we create environments to bring out the best in people's capability and the best in their potential? How can we be more human? You know, Dan Pelotto's quote, human.kind, be both. Just think about that. You know, the clue is in the title, humankind. And how can we be more kind to ourselves so that we can extend that kindness and that love and care to other people? And how can we do that? I mean, there's no great, massive rocket science type thing. I think sometimes it takes courage for us to be ourselves. You know, we see people who impress or connect, and there's people who are really slick and that I think, as Maya Angelou would say, people will never remember what you say or do, but they're always going to remember how you made them feel. And so with our interactions with one another, how do you want people to feel? How can we create islands of sanity for each other? How do we create it for ourselves first? Do we want to impress or do we want to connect? And if we want to connect with people, perhaps it's about thinking about the language that we're using. You know, are we checking up on people? Are we checking in? I was on a conference call the other day, and other people were on Zoom and I was in the car. So it felt disjointed because I couldn't see people I was waving. It wasn't useful. And in about 8 to 10 minutes, someone used the phrase, well, this is your challenge. They used it 12 times in about an 8 to 10 minute. This is your challenge. To me, this was my challenge. I have enough challenges of my own. I don't need to take on anyone else's. And I was so challenged by the amount of challenges I was getting. I had to pull over the car because I couldn't count how many challenges. Our language physically changes the biology of other people. So we can, through the language that we use, change the biology of another human. And so how can we be graceful with the language that we're using? You know, I've sat and I've heard about sweating the assets, and which are humans, striving capability, making sure we're stretching towards the vision, and just being exhausted after those calls. How can we be kind to one another? How can we be gentle with one another? How can we create spaces where we give each other a good listening to? I don't think we need a good talking to. I think we need a good listening to. And we know those people that are so beautifully generous with their listening. You know, it makes my heart smile to think about leaders that I've worked with who gave me, as I progressed in my career, who gave me a good listening to. We'll remember them because there was kindness in that listening. There was kindness in that space that they created. And kindness is in our title. Human.kind, be both. I saw a beautiful quote by Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, which I hope I have said accurately, and I wrote it here so that I can remember. And I've actually used it as a meditation on the back of it, because sometimes we want, when we're listening to situations and challenges in business, we may have a solution, but maybe it's the solution that we want and not the solution for the problem. And sometimes we're fighting so much against the way in which others are doing things that we don't allow ourselves to clear our own projections. Perhaps we're not seeing clearly, and therefore, maybe my question is, are we acting wisely? And the quote goes, "I cannot change the way the world is, but by opening to the world as it is, I may discover that gentleness, decency, and bravery are available not only to me, but to all human beings." I cannot change the way the world is, but by opening to the way the world, I can say easily, but by opening to the world as it is. And sometimes, you know what? Maybe this isn't the world that we wanted. But if we can accept the world that we're in, it releases some tension and it allows us to extend humanity to other people. And that, it feels like it'd be rude if we didn't. So how about you notice and pay attention to and observe when you're being a good human to those that you work with. Take care.
Thank you for joining us for the 2021 Train of Positivity Virtual Summit. If you have enjoyed this positive message, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. If sharing, please don't forget to use the hashtag Train of Positivity. Continue to have a great day, and thanks again for tuning in.